Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to my second round Stanley Cup predictions. Just recapping my first round picks. Washington Capitals and New York Rangers. I picked Washington in 6, and I believe it was Washington in 5. So, New York didn't do quite as well as I thought they would, but I mean, I really didn't think Washington would have too much of a problem, and really they didn't. Philadelphia and Buffalo. Philadelphia just barely got by Buffalo. They were actually pretty lucky to get out of there in 7, and really, I after it got through about 5 games, I didn't think Philadelphia was going to win anymore, but they did manage to pull it out. So. Boston and Montreal, Boston in 7 games. This was a great series, just like everybody thought it was going to be. It went 7 games. It went into overtime in the 7th game. It was like everything you could ask for. There was actually a lot of game 7s, and it was just great. The whole round, the first round was great. Again, Pittsburgh and Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay did win in 7 games, and this was another great series. Pittsburgh was really hurting without Crosby and Malkin. I really think if Pittsburgh had had Crosby and Malkin, they probably would have won this series in like 6 or 7 games. But they didn't, and so I personally think that's part of the reason Tampa Bay won. Vancouver and Chicago. I thought I had this series about right when I saw Vancouver going up 3-0, but boy, I give Chicago a lot of credit because they came all the way back and forced overtime in that 7th game, and that was a fun game to watch personally. But Chicago put up a lot more of a fight than I thought they would, especially after being down 3-0. San Jose and Los Angeles. I had Los Angeles in 7 games. This didn't really work out so well for me because San Jose did get off their schneid, or whatever you want to call it, that they hadn't won in the playoffs in a while. But, so we'll see how far they go this year. Detroit and Phoenix. Detroit just dominated this series. Phoenix didn't even hardly show up. I really thought, that they'd have something more to play for, and who knows, they could be off to Winnipeg next year, so guess we'll have to see what happens with their franchise. Anaheim and Nashville, boy, this is a tough series to talk about for me personally, because if you didn't watch my first video, you should know that I'm a Ducks fan, and I didn't know anything about Nashville before this series, basically, except they had like Shea Weber and, Pekka Rinne was their goalie. That was about all I knew. Watching this series, or at least following it, I didn't really watch it because it was never on TV, but just following the series, I learned a little bit more about Nashville and what they are as a team, and so they are a pretty good team. I'll give them credit for that. They got Vancouver coming up, though, so we'll get to that here in a second. Okay, so getting to my Eastern Conference semifinal predictions. Washington and Tampa Bay. I'm going to pick Washington in 6 games. Washington had a short series with New York. They're probably well rested. And Tampa Bay had a long series with Pittsburgh. And so I'm thinking Washington gets this done in 6 games. Obviously, you have to give Tampa Bay a little bit of credit. I think they'll win at least a game or 2, I would think. I don't expect Washington to sweep this series, but I have Washington in 6 games. Philadelphia and Boston. I'm actually going to pick Boston in 7 games, and the reason for that is Philadelphia's goaltending situation. They've used 3 different goaltenders already in the first round. They've had guys coming in relief, and they ended up coming back to tie and, force overtime and sometimes win a game using their backup goalie. And if they don't get that figured out, Boston's going to win this series. If they do get it figured out, then I would pick Philadelphia. But until then, I'm going to pick Boston in 7 games, and we'll see what happens. Vancouver and Nashville. I got Vancouver in 6. Again, I learned a little bit more about Nashville watching that series with the Ducks, but I still like Vancouver as a team, and they're probably one of my top picks to go all the way. And they should be. They won the President's Cup, but or the President's Trophy. So, yeah, I've got Vancouver in 6 games. I don't think Nashville will be too much of a problem for Vancouver, but I think they'll win probably at least 2 games. San Jose and Detroit, maybe it's the fact that I'm a Ducks fan and I just don't like the Sharks, but I got Detroit in 7 games, and I think this will be a good series because just because Detroit's such a good team, and San Jose is a good team too. But San Jose, you know, like I brought up before, they've had their playoff problems, and but we'll see how that turns out. That could go to San Jose. I don't really know. So those are my predictions for the second round. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll see you later.